Hello, YouTube family, my subscribers and viewers. We're back. This is part 2 of the video I just finished. Video on sleep, a basic need, and the wonders it does for the body. We talked about the stages of sleep, stages 1 through 4. We covered information on what happens in the brain waves, why we have those brain waves, what they're doing, and how the body benefits from sleep itself. We covered information that brings you to an understanding that no matter how much we think we have to do to get things done in our life, in our work life, home life, personal life, you name it, no matter what we have to be done, we still need sleep, and we have to get adequate sleep. Without adequate sleep, the body just breaks down. Let's focus on learning more about sleep as we move forward. These 2 videos, part 1 and 2, healthy sleep, is just a precursor for you to go out and do your own research. This is, like I said, my platform is all about awareness, healthcare awareness, and trying to get people to healthy thinking. Not just you all, but myself involved. I want to become more healthy. I want to become more health conscious, more health minded. I want to, this is 2020, welcome everyone. This is a new year. Let's kick it off being health conscious. And let's try to do what we need to do to make ourselves better. Let's get better sleep. Let's get the hours that we need to have that recharge and regenerated body that we need for the next day. So without further wait, let's dive right on into part 2 of sleep, a basic need, and the wonders it does for the human body. Now, we talked about stages 1. I'm going to recap stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and 4. And when we talked about those, I go back to what Dr. Michael Twirry said. Sleeping is one of the way that the body recovers from damage, and it protects itself against illnesses. So remember that. Stage 1, we look at the alpha waves, and the alpha waves calms you down. It integrates mind and body. It just mends things within the body. Your cells go to work. Your cells are being repaired as well. So, and we're talking about all the way to blood cells, the cellular structures in the bone marrow, stem cells. So all of these things are being regenerated, being taken care of, worked on, repaired, reconstructed, just for a better you. And you need that. You really do. It helps mental coordination as well. These are the things we talked earlier about in part 1 of the video, and we discussed that you can be in your stage 1 sleep and still be alert. And we mentioned how someone can knock at the door and you can hear them although you nodded off to sleep. Stage 2, during that stage, we covered the brain slows down, brain wave slows down. You're falling into like a sleep splinter. This is where we talk about the theta waves. Theta waves are your dream states. This is when you're headed into deep sleep. And we talked about, these are meditation stages too as well. So you hear people talk about meditating and things like that. This is a form of relaxation. This is a form of repairing yourself. So don't forget that when you talk about relaxation, it's not always in the deeper sleeps, but you can get it in stage 1 and the beginning of stage 2 as well, which takes you to those deeper and more relaxed sleeps. And we discussed in the first video that in this stage as well, stage 2, your stress levels drop, anxiety levels drop. So your body is relaxing more, you're more calm. And people, this is something that we can all attest to, being grouchy a lot. A lot of times, just think about it. When you're just in that mental mindset where anything that somebody say to you sets you off, maybe you just need some rest. Maybe you're doing too much. Maybe you haven't given your body time to repair from a couple of days ago. Maybe catching 3 hours here, 3 hours here, 3 hours there, 4 hours here, 4 hours there, not really getting 6, 7, or 8 hours of sleep. So your body is letting you know by being sluggish, being anxious, and when someone come up to you and just say 1 or 2 words, you flip out. All of these things can occur due to lack of sleep. The lack of sleep. We also covered the beginning stages of deep sleep. And right when we were getting into that, I had to end that video. But we're here and we're going to pick back up on the beginning of deep sleep. And this is where the brain begins to produce slower delta waves. Now we're into delta waves. This is where you experience less eye movement, muscle movement. Things are slowing down to a halt. Some even speak of it as being in a state of paralysis. Because this is where you're less likely to wake up if someone knocks at the door or if your phone rings. You're so caught up in that deep sleep until the phone can be ringing off the hook, you'll never hear it. And some people will think you're ignoring them. But really, you just off into such a deep sleep, you're in that 4th stage. You're in REM. And you're in the deep part of REM, and your body is really repairing itself. And it just, I go back to using an automotive analogy. When they take those cars in to fix on them, they take the battery post loose, they take everything. There's no power going on in that vehicle until they get ready to test it. But until then, they got everything taken loose. There's no power. You can't get nothing out of the car. So if someone come up to push the jump start, it's not going to happen because there's no connections. This is what's happening in deep sleep. You have no power. You're shut down. You're being worked on. So this is something that you need, and the body needs it because it repairs muscle tissues, it repairs blood cells, the cells in your bones, the bone marrow, stem cells, all that. This is what your body is working on while you are asleep. It's also focusing on your immune system. It's strengthening your immune system. It's almost like a military might. It's preparing it for war. So the next cold or flu comes in, it's ready to fight. This is what's happening to your body while you're sleeping. Another thing, for children, it helps growth. So that's the part of the cells when they're working on bone cells, and it adds to growth and development. That's the reason why children needs a lot more hours of sleep than adults. And we talked about that in the last video where I mentioned about you going to a daycare center and you see all these children at a certain time of the day, around about noontime maybe, they're all laid out on the floor, on the mats, and they're sleeping. Children need that. And a lot of times we wonder why our children do poorly in school is because at night some of these kids are staying up late, playing video games in the dark, sitting in their room playing video games late at night and probably going to bed around about 11 p.m. You go to bed at 11 p.m., you're not going to go to sleep at 11 p.m. Takes about another 15 to maybe 30 minutes, depending on winding down, how long it takes you, that kid, to wind down. So think about it. Then your kid goes to school sluggish, mind is not focused because you didn't get enough sleep that night, and then they do poorly in school. Some kids go to school with attitude. They didn't get enough sleep. These are the disadvantages of not getting sleep, enough sleep, proper rest. So when you're looking at the advantages and disadvantages, you have to get what you need in order to function and to handle the tasks that are set before you, mental tasks as well as physical tasks. You have to get that sleep. You have to get that sleep. We talked about boosting immune functions, and it also builds energy for the next day. Now at this point, it becomes a little harder for you to be awakened, like we discussed, because you're in a state now where it is hard to respond to outside stimuli. That's the reason why when you're in your deep sleep, somebody can come up to you and yell at you while you're lying down on the sofa or the bed, and you will not hear a thing. Then they will reach over, put their hand on their shoulder and shake you a little. You're not responsive. You're in a deep sleep. And sometimes that person takes a little roll to the side and keep it moving. They still in their sleep. These are the things that deep sleep takes you into, and your body is being repaired at that time. So you're not coming out of it until that cycle is finished. Now, if someone keep nudging you long enough, yeah, they're going to get you out of it, but it's not easy. Not when you're in a deep sleep. When you don't get the sleep that your body deserves, when your body does not get the proper rest, when your body is deprived, they call that sleep deprivation. And sleep deprivation is basically a rudimentary level of saying it's just not getting enough sleep. You're not giving your body the sleep that it deserves. You're depriving it. You're holding back. That's what it just means. The condition that occurs if you're not getting enough sleep. And When you sleep at the wrong hours and your body is not in tune or in sync with that, and you try to take a nap here or there during hours that you're not accustomed to, that too can cause problems because it goes against your natural clock. Because your body already have an idea what time you're going to lay down and go to bed, and it already plans for that. You know, just like women talks about biological clocks. Well, then your body have a clock too that focus on sleep. When you do that to yourself, and we're talking about the disadvantages now, when you're not giving your body the time to take a break, to go to sleep, to get the hours that it deserves, not the hours that you wanted to get so you can head to another job, but the hours that it deserves, you also run into pushing yourself into sleep disorders. Now you're really hurting yourself. You're really hurting your body, because this can fall in the lines of different types of problems, where now not only that you're not getting sleep, even when you try, you can't get it. That's where you run into your sleep apnea. All of this is, when you have sleep apnea, it's about the breathing. It occurs when your breathing is interrupted during sleep. So you'll find that in men. You find that in people that's overweight. You find that in people over 40. There are greater risks for sleep apnea. And when you do not get this treated, and you do not go to your doctor, I tell you this: please consult with your doctor. That is mandatory. Consult with your doctor. You do not want to play with this. Untreated sleep apnea can cause hypertension. It can cause stroke. It even can cause heart failure. So when we're talking about the disadvantages of not getting enough sleep, here's the problems that we run into. And when we're suffering with these type of sleep issues, remember, you may have trouble making decisions, simple decisions on the job. Some people just can wake up in the morning and decide, I'm not going to work. That can be just due to not getting enough sleep. Making simple decisions, it impairs those decision-making skills. Problem-solving skills, it gets in the way of that. Controlling your emotions and behavior. Some people just cannot keep it together. And then when you find out later, one of the biggest issues, they're not getting enough sleep. They're working 2 or 3 jobs. Leave one job, some of them don't even be able to go home. Leave one job, sleep in the car, take a nap, then get up and they're right back at another job. Take care of yourself. A lot of people can't cope with changes. Sleep deficiencies has been linked to depression, suicide, and high-risk taking behaviors. All of this because you're not getting enough sleep. Trust me, do your research. This is research that I found written in by the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute. And they shared some of this information at the 2018 research conference on sleep. So they had a conference going on just about sleep alone, and they shared some of this information that I'm giving you right now. That's the reason why when you talk about going into that last stage of sleep and that is a good thing. That is a good thing. You want to be able to get into that stage of sleep. It takes about 90 minutes after initially falling asleep to get in there, to get to that level of sleep. Once you get there, it can last up to an hour. And according to the Sleep Institute, they're saying that you want to have at least 6 of those type of hours a day. You want to be able to put in 6 hours REM. And hey, let me tell you something. You can get 5, I'm happy. But they're saying you want to get 6. Without getting those type of hours in, it can be detrimental to your health. So when we're focusing on proper sleep, you want to get those benefits. When you take the time out to give yourself proper rest, your problem-solving skills goes up. Your ability to pay attention and to stay focused is heightened. Sleep is also necessary for healthy bone marrow and with eventually blood cells in the body. We talked about that. A study published in the Journal of Sleep found that people produce more antibodies in response to the hepatitis B vaccine when they are receiving adequate sleep. In other words, the antibodies that is produced helps the vaccine do more for your body when you're getting enough sleep. The one I like is about your liver. Your liver produces the most cholesterol during the evening hours. Think about it. Your liver is producing more cholesterol during the evening hours than any other time of the day. Saying that, when you fall behind on your sleep and you're not getting adequate sleep in the evening time, in the evening hours, this can throw the whole rhythm off. Remember what the liver do, it's a detox center for your body. So when your liver is not up to snuff, that's just like having a workforce. It takes 20, but only 5 people showed up. The production level drops tremendously. This is what's happening to your liver when you don't get enough sleep. So being that it falls behind, it can throw the rhythm off, making it less able or efficient enough to carry out the functions like detoxing, breaking down the adrenaline, and managing blood sugar levels. Think about it. And we're talking about in deep stages of sleep. We're talking about REM. It says the average adult has 5 to 6 cycles each night, should get that. And we're talking about of REM sleep. Babies spends up to 50% of their sleep in REM stage, compared to adults 20% in REM stage. According to the Harvard Medical School Division of Sleep Medicine, the amount of sleep a person needs, depending on different variables, age is one of them. Here's how they breaks it down. An infant from 1 to 3 months needs at least 14, 18 hours of sleep a day. Infants from 4 to 11 months needs 11 to 15 hours a day of sleep. Preschool children from ages 3 to 5 needs 10 to 13 hours a day. School-aged children, we're talking about adolescents, ages 6 to 13 needs 10 to 11 hours a day. Still on sleep. Teenagers, ages 14 to 17, needs about 8.5 to 10 hours a day of sleep. Most adults need 7.5 to 9 hours. Some people need a few at 6 hours. Some people get away with 6 hours. That's what it's saying. We're still talking about Harvard. This information comes from Harvard Medical School of Sleep. As many as up to 10 hours of sleep a day. So the minimum is 6 for adults, up to 10 hours. Older adults, 65 years age and older, 7 to 8 hours of sleep each day. Now let's talk about briefly women who's carrying in their 3rd month of pregnancy. First 3 months of pregnancy, they will need more than the standard adult sleep. So just hypothetically, just saying an adult need anywhere from 7.5 to 9 hours, you can take that 9 hours and add several more hours there, and you can even say 12, 13, maybe 14 hours of sleep be good for a woman was within the 3 months pregnancy. So they need a lot more sleep because they're not just sleeping for themselves. They're also sleeping so that the baby can get the proper nourishment. The same blood cells going through that woman going through the child. The same cells that's dealing with the woman dealing with the child. So the child also have to deal with development and growth right there in the womb. So all of this taking place, sleep is very important. So men, when your wife or girlfriend that is pregnant and she's saying she's a little tired, she just want to get some sleep, some rest, leave her alone. Let her get it. It's healthy for the child and it's healthy for her. Give her that time. Nothing else is more important. You know, unless there's a doctor appointment or something that she has to meet and it's time to get her to go there. Other than that, let's just keep it real. Let's try to stay healthy with sleep. This wraps up part 2 of the sleep video for Rebirth today, and we're talking about sleep, a basic need, and the wonders it does for the human body. I thank you all for listening in. I thank my viewers. I thank my subscribers. Check it out. Those of you that are new here, give me a thumbs up, like it, subscribe. There are more and more coming. I have a lot of content here and I just feel overwhelmed. I want to just get it out there. But I'm pumping my brakes, taking my time, making sure that it is done properly, it's done right, it's clear, it's concise. And I hope you enjoyed this video. And most of all, Happy New Year. Welcome to 2020. And hey, those of you I want to also motivate those of you that want to do things in this year. Set your goals and do it. Don't overplan, don't underplan. Set meaningful goals, set doable goals. Let's work towards them, let's achieve them, and let's make this year the best year yet. Okay? Let's do this. And I thank you very much.